Hello students, welcome to you all. So I am here to teach you biology of class 11. We start with the first unit, diversity in the living world. Diversity means different forms, living means life, world, you all know about the world. So what is diversity? Different forms of life which is present in this world, we have to study all about it. So we have categorized this unit into 4 chapters. The first chapter we will study about the life. In second chapter, how we have classified all these different type of living organisms. In third chapter, we will study about the different types of plants which is present in this world. Then different type of animals which is present in this world, we will study in the fourth chapter. So let's come and we will start with the first chapter, the living world. Before going to start this chapter, we will study that what is biology, some important points. So biology comprises of two terms, bio and logi. Bio means life and logi means to study. Whenever we are studying about the life or the life processes which is happening inside the living organism, we will study biology. Now, who was the father of biology? Aristotle. Now, we know that biology is different areas. So, out of these areas, we will study about the two major areas. What are they? Zoology and botany. Zoology comprises zoo and logi. Whenever we are using word zoo, it means that something we are relating with the animals. And logi means to study. When we are doing scientific study of animals, so it comes under the zoology. And when we are studying or we are showing some important facts about the plant, so it will under the botany. Now, who is the father of zoology? Aristotle. And who is the father of botany? Theophrastus. And for your information, Theophrastus was a student of Aristotle. Alright. So these are some important points about the subject. Now come to the main point. Our chapter name is Living World. In your NCERT, some points are given which are very, very important from the examination point of view, and you have to memorize it. So first thing, Ernest Mayr was a great scientist, he was a great biologist, German biologist, and what he has done, he has given biological concept of species, and he was also known as Darwin of 28th century. Then we will start with the characteristics of life. As we are saying, we are talking about the world. In this world, some living objects are there and some non-living objects are also there. But here we are studying, as the chapter name is living, so we will study about the whole thing which is happening in the living part. So how can you differentiate between living as well as non-living? Because both are present in this world, how can you differentiate? So there are some characteristics on their basis we can say life is present in this living organism and life is not present in this non-living objects. So here you will say the first one is growth. Five characteristics are there which we will study. The first one is growth, second one is reproduction, third one is metabolism, fourth one is cellular organization, and fifth one is consciousness. What we have to do, the first two characteristics, what are they? They are non-defining. They are not defined. They are not particularly defining about the life. These are the feature of life. We can say these are the features of life, but exactly they are not defining the life, because something which is happening, the same thing in the non-living object. That's why we are saying these are not representing a proper characteristic of life. And the last three, what they are doing, metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness. In all these three, these are the defining property of living organism. So let's start with the first characteristic, growth. Now, again in your NCERT, it is written that twin characteristic. What is the meaning of twin? Twin means two. So growth has two characteristics. What are they? When there will be increase in mass, and second thing, when there will be increase in number of cells. So we can say that growth is happening where? When the mass will increase or number of cell will increase. And another point about the growth, that growth is irreversible. Once it completed, so it will not go back. So this change is permanent change. On some basis, we have again categorized the growth into two. What are they? Indeterminate growth and determinate growth. This indeterminate growth is what? It is another one is a determinate growth. In indeterminate growth, unlimited growth. What will be there? Unlimited growth. It means that this growth will keeps on growing and growing, and in the determinate growth, the growth is limited. After a certain period of time, this growth will stop. Examples are plants, and here in the determinate growth, human beings grow at a certain period of time. After that, the growth will stop here. Another classification, internal growth and external growth. Growth can be internal as well as external. So in the next, I will show you internal growth. What is internal growth? Another name of internal growth is intrinsic growth as well as interoception. Clear? So memorize all these three terms. So what is the meaning of internal growth? The name itself indicates that the growth which is happening from inside, it is known as internal growth. And what are the causes behind it? Maybe different life processes happening. For example, cell division. Example, different types of nutrition which we are taking. It is giving energy to us. So due to this, what is happening? Our mass is increasing. Our weight is increasing. So we can say we are growing from inside due to the metabolic activities which is happening inside the body. And second one is external growth, or we can say extrinsic growth or accretion. This type of growth takes place when there will be accumulation on the surface area. So name itself indicates that the growth which is happening from outside due to the accumulation of something. So this is known as external growth. Examples are mountains. If you see these mountains, what is happening? Due to the accumulation of sand, it seems that mountains are also growing. So tell me that, is mountains are growing? Yes, mountains are growing, but this growth is what type of growth? External growth due to the accumulation of these sand. Another examples we can take, what can be the other example? Sand mounds, due to the accumulation of sand, they are increasing, their growth is there. Another example, Himalayan ranges. In Himalayan ranges, what happens? They are covered with snowfall, and due to the snowfall, it seems that mountains are growing. Alright, so here we are observing that growth is happening, growth is occurring both in living as well as non-living. So how can you say that it's a exclusive property of life? We cannot say that it's an exclusive property. So that's why in the conclusion we can say growth is not the defining property of life or the living organism, because growth can be seen in some non-living objects also. Clear? Another question is there, that if I'll ask, tell me that is growth is a defining property, you will say it's not a defining property. But when I will ask specifically whether the internal growth is the defining property, so you will say yes, because we know that the growth which is happening from inside, this will define a proper feature of the living organism. Again, if I'll ask the external growth is a defining property, you will say no. Only the internal growth is a defining property. Now come to the second characteristic, reproduction. Reproduction comprises of two terms, re and production. Re means again and again, and production means to produce. When the parent are producing the same of type, what is happening? They are producing their true to type. So in that case, we can say that reproduction is happening. This reproduction can be of two types, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. A meaning absent. Sexual, there is no formation of gametes as well as no meiosis. In case of asexual reproduction, what happens? There will be no formation of gamete as well as no meiosis. But in case of sexual reproduction, there will be formation of gametes. And what type of gametes will be there? Male gamete as well as female gamete. So we know that what is a male gamete? Sperms in case of human beings. And what is a female gamete? Ovum. And this ovum is motile or non-motile? It is non-motile, and here sperm is a motile one. Whenever we are talking in the biology, some representation are there. Male we are representing with this sign, and female we are representing with this sign. So when there will be fusion of both male and female gamete, it will form zygote. Clear this thing? Now, when we are talking about the asexual reproduction, this asexual reproduction can be of different types. In your NCERT, it is mentioned that, so it is it is necessary for you to memorize each and every mode of asexual reproduction. First mode of asexual reproduction, spore formation. In this method, what happens? There will be formation of spores, and when it will get rupture, it will form different types of fungi. Example is fungi. Another one is budding. But what is budding? There will be formation of bud. Example, hydra. In case of hydra, what happens? For example, this is a hydra and tentacles are present. It will form a bud-like structure. When it will get mature, this bud will get detached from the parent body and it will form the another hydra. So this is budding. And another mode of asexual reproduction is fragmentation. Example, in case of filamentous algae, in this case what happens? Body break down into different fragments and again they will form a new individuals. Another method, true regeneration. True regeneration means that again the body is able to generate a new individual. Example, planaria. In case of planaria, what happens? If body divides into different parts, what will happen? All these parts will able to form a new planaria. And why it is happening? Due to the totipotent cells. There is one difference between regeneration and true regeneration. Regeneration is what? When only a specific part will break down and it will get recovered. Example, in case of lizard, what happens? If the tail of lizard will cut down, so what will happen? It will again form a new tail, but it will not form a new lizard from this tail. But in case of planaria, what happens? In case of planaria, if planaria will be cut into different pieces, so they are able to generate a new planaria from all those parts. So in conclusion, we can say that again reproduction is not a defining property of living organism. So here why we are not saying reproduction is not a defining property? Because we know that there are some exceptions. See, one thing is very clear. Whenever you are saying about the defining property, there should be no exception. If you are finding any exception in any characteristic, so it means that it will not be a defining property. In case of the first characteristics, what was the exception? The external growth. It was the exception. In case of reproduction, you can see different example. For example, mule. What is mule? It is a hybrid form of horse and donkey. Horse is what? Female and donkey is male. You will not change the sign. For when the female will be a horse and male will be donkey, then only you will get mule. Clear? So these mules are sterile. They are not able to reproduce. Clear? Again, another example are drones. What are drones? Drones are the working bees. They are sterile. They are not able to reproduce. And third one example, infertile couple. In the society, you have seen that so many couples are there. Those are not able to give birth to their young ones, or they are not able to give birth to their babies. So what you will consider them? Life is not there. So that's why life is also present in some sterile organism. In case of drones, infertile, they are also living in this earth. So we cannot say that life is only when the reproduction is taking place. In case of some exception, life is there. So we have concluded that it's not a defining property. Now the third one is metabolism. What is metabolism? Metabolism is the sum total of all chemical reactions which is occurring inside our body. As we know that inside our body, different life processes are going on. For example, you are taking food. This food is giving energy to you, and with the help of respiration, you are breaking down your complex food into the simpler one. Due to this, what is happening? You are getting energy in form of ATP. So what is happening inside your body due to this chemical reaction? So this metabolism comprises of two things: anabolism and catabolism. What is the meaning of anabolism? It is a constructive unit when something is synthesizing from the lower to higher, from the simpler molecules to complex. It is known as anabolism. In case of catabolism, it is a destructive unit in which what will happen? There will be destruction. Due to this destruction, the macromolecule will break down into the simple micromolecule. If I will talk about the examples, in photosynthesis, what happens? There will be formation of food, or there will be synthesis of food with the help of inorganic material or organic material like CO2, water. Combination of all these things, there will be synthesis of food. In case of respiration, what is happening? The glucose which you are taking, it will get breakdown. Due to this breakdown, you are getting energy. Clear? So what is happening? The breakdown of macromolecules or the larger molecules into the simpler one. So there is no exception in this case of metabolism, because it's only happens in case of living organism. You cannot see this anabolism is happening in case of non-living object. It is only and only property of living organism. So we can conclude that metabolism is a defining property of living organism. Now there is one question arises: if we are taking these chemicals in test tube, if you are taking this in a test tube, so now what you will say? Metabolism is happening here also. Some reactions is happening also here. Due to the addition of chemicals, we are getting some product. So now what you will say? It is defining or not defining? See, this test tube is what? Non-living. But the reaction which is occurring inside this test tube, it is living one. So we can say that it is a part of living. So metabolism is a defining property. Two terms are there in your NCERT: in vitro and in vivo. In vitro means vessels. The reaction which is happening inside the test tube or inside a vessel, it is known as in vitro, and in vivo is outside this test tube. It means that it is happening in the control condition, whatever the experiment which we are performing in the lab. So it is happening in the control condition, and the thing which is happening inside our body, it is outside the test tube and in the natural condition. In vivo is a natural condition and in vitro is a control condition. Alright. Now come to the fourth property of life: cellular organization. You all know about it. Cell is the basic unit of life. Due to the combination of cells, formation of tissue, then it will form organ, then organ system. Like this, what is happening? The life is evolving from the single cell to multicellular cell, and in all, whether it is unicellular or a multicellular, life is present. You cannot see these cells where into the non-living objects. So again we can say the cellular organization is a defining property of life, because it is happening only in the living organism. Clear? There is no exception. The fifth one is consciousness. What is consciousness? Responding to a stimuli. For example, if I will take an example, I will prick your hand with the needle. Okay, or with this pencil or pen, what you will do? Your body will respond. This time your body will act like a what? Receptor. The receptors which is present in your body will respond to this stimuli, and this pencil will become the stimuli for your skin. Same thing, only the living organism can respond. If the thing will be non-living, they will not respond here. For example, we are quoting here, the person which is in coma. The person which is in coma, what you will consider, living or non-living? Because their body is not moving, nothing is happening from the external part, but the doctors which are, or the nurses which they are providing some chemicals, some injection they are providing, what will happen after some time? The person will get recover. Why it is happening? Because the internal part of the body is responding to the chemicals. They are not responding externally, but yes, internally body is responding. So it means that the consciousness is also a defining property, because it is happening in the living organism, because you cannot see any non-living object to respond. Two terms are there, consciousness and self-conscious. Self-consciousness. What is the difference between these two? Self-consciousness relates to what, that if something is responding. Example in case of plants. Now plants are responding or not? Yes, plants are also responding. How they are responding? Examples is touch me not. If you will see the touch me not plant, what is happening in this plant? In touch me not, if you will touch them, the leaves will get change. The same in case of plants. Another example, photoperiodism. As the light will, due to this light, what happens? The plants changing their direction. So again they are responding to the light. So these are some changes which is happening in case of only living organism. But when we talk about the human beings have the consciousness. And what type of consciousness? Self-consciousness. If someone will, if you are sitting at one place, at the same time you are able to see the other thing, that what is happening across you. So these things can relate with the human beings. We can say that human beings have the self-consciousness. They can relate with the, or they can have, or sometimes what happens, we are saying that sixth sense. What is the meaning? Because we have the power to think more and more. We are more advanced. So in conclusion, we can say that consciousness is a defining property of living organism. It cannot happen in the non-living organism. But if I'll ask about the self-consciousness, whether self-consciousness is a defining property, then you will say no, because it is happening only in the human beings. It is not in the plant. Now, we have done all about the characteristic of life. So these lives, now what we have concluded at last, they are self-replicating, they are self-evolving, they are self-regulating. So all this about what is happening, or they are responding to their external. That much for today. Thank you.